Hello guys and welcome for another Aeternum video. It's been a while since I've posted a build video, and to be completely honest with you, this one was also on the edge of not coming out to the public. Well, because of my dear friend FatJay, who is a longtime supporter of mine, and as per his request of his favorite build, I decided to spread the word and share this cooking tutorial with everyone. Just to clarify before you close the tab, we are talking about PvP cooking and we do not have extremely hard to find ingredients for our recipes, which are also super easy to follow. Before going into the build and the details for it, I want to remind everyone that supporting the channel is free, and at the same time it helps me a lot to fuel my passion to continue doing gaming content of all types. Therefore, I would be extremely happy if you join me in that journey by subscribing to the channel and also becoming a part of our growing community in the Discord, for which you can find a link in the description below. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the kitchen because it's early and I'm starving. Also, I apologize for all of the cheap food jokes up ahead. We all know that Season 7 brought a lot of issues and server drama because of the spaghetti code of AGS. I love spaghetti and shout out to whole Italy, but unfortunately those ones were not good for consumption and I remained hungry because of that. That's why I had to look further to find solution for my starving. Another thing that came up with Season 7, however, were the 8 new artifacts, for which we knew just a little bit on the post that they did, but the full picture was only clear after the release of the patch. One of those particular artifacts has caused a bit of a debate if it will be good enough and if it will work well, and this of course is the Burninator. And since the name is quite hard to pronounce, I will just call it Barney from now on to be clear. Barney is a fire staff that has 2 illegal perks in his kit, and those are the Keenly Jacked and Refreshing Move. Usually those two share the same perk bucket, but here we see them together. As all the other artifacts, we can add a third perk of choice to increase the power of the item, and last but probably most importantly, Barney has a passive which is unique and it's called Burnination. The unique passive of Barney is reducing the base damage of all the abilities and heavy attacks by 33%, but instead it provides an additional burn dot for 5 seconds that can stack up to 5 times, and each of those dots is doing 15% weapon damage. This means that if you are quick enough to apply all the dots, you might get yourself a 75% weapon damage burn for a quick duration of 5 seconds. You can already tell where we are heading with this one, and it would be not a surprise to anyone who played the new world long enough to see the old meta coming back. So let's start with the skill trees of the weapons and see what exactly this build is meant for. For our main hand fire staff Barney, we want to get mostly the skills and passives from the right side of the skill tree. Our goal is to have flamethrower with all the different upgrades to it, as well as burnout with the 2 extensions. For passives, I think that the best ones would have to be Pyromania for additional damage to cooked or undercooked targets, Let It Burn for 10% fortify while the main dish is still cooking, Kindle so our oven can work 20% longer, Watch It Burn so we can precisely take out the dish when it's ready, Combat Speed so we can serve the food to the customers, and of course Trial by Fire, which will be pleasing everyone around us in the restaurant. Jokes aside, you can mute me and pause the video so you can see the actual passives and their benefits, because I really got my funny hat this morning and I couldn't pass to say that. Going over to the left side of the skill tree, we want to have Fireball for opener or a finisher for low HP targets that are trying to run away. We want to take both of the upgrades for it so we can reach the passive below that will give us critical chance and critical damage. For the Ice Gauntlet, which will be our secondary weapon for the build, I run a regular War IG build, which is quite simple but super effective. We go for the 3 core abilities Storm, Shower and Entomb, and we take the passives that you see on the screen. After all, the Ice Gauntlet in that build is serving like a fire extinguisher, as sometimes we might overheat in the kitchen and somebody has to cool us down. Now, when we know the skill trees for both weapons, let's actually check what are the best weapons for the build. The fire staff for the build will be, like we said, Barney, and this of course is the new artifact of choice, but the only unanswered question is what will be the last perk and what type of gem we should use on it. I believe that since we go mainly for dot damage and not for flat burst damage, the only logical follow-up for a perk here would be Disdained Infliction, as it will boost our potency of all dots by 15%. In the gem socket, you want to have a rune glass jasper with any type of element, but of course you can prioritize fire. This way you will gain an additional dot from the rune glass, and the jasper gem will provide you with a reward of 20% in power whenever you receive a hit. For an ice gauntlet, it doesn't matter that much what you're gonna pick, because generally this weapon will be used only to survive and to sometimes blocks the enemy's entrance or exit with Ice Storm and Ice Shower abilities. That's why I think that as long as you have Entomb in your Ice Gauntlet, you are all set and done. Just remember that when you exit Entomb, you should not switch to Fire Staff too quickly, as the perk effect will not work as you are having it on the weapon. Now let's continue to our main dish, and this will be the armor pieces for the build. In our restaurant we have big variety of gourmet stuff, but my personal favorite can be only one. And same as a Michelin star chef, I will give you a quick tour explaining all of the specific meals. Flamethrower has a range of 6 meters, which is quite a dangerous zone for a mage to be in. Not having the necessary staggers and grit can only make you an easy target for your enemies. Of course, those are the downsides, but let's skip them and go for the positive sides of that build. While you cook people from 6 meters distance, you can actually move and reposition yourself accordingly. While doing so, you are a bit slowed, but that's why we have some perks in the build which will provide us with extra movement speed. Lately, Shirking Heals was ninja buffed due to the potions and the changes to the self-sustain. But if we dodge, this means that the cooking is getting cancelled. And before you go for bananas and tell me that Flamethrower doesn't have a cooldown if you don't get staggered, remember that every burn matters, okay? Every single one. No burn left behind. Remember those words. Alright, let's move on. Enough with those stupid jokes. Our choice of artifact for this build will be of course the Azot Conductors. The medium pants are simply too good to pass on, as they give you 15% elemental damage, and the only thing that we do with this flamethrower is of course elemental damage. For last perk, I think that Enchanted Ward is probably the best choice. On both the head and the chest piece, I suggest you to go for Frigid Down pieces, as they will provide you with the legal combination of Enchanted Ward and elemental aversion. For a third perk on both of those pieces, you can go for a physical type of conditioning like Slash or Thrust. The gloves and the boots remain to be crafted in light loadout. One of those should have Enchanted Ward, Flamethrower and Conditioning, while the other one has to have Hasted Vigor, Elemental Conditioning and Flame Conditioning. This way you can gain yourself speed from both the Flamethrower perk and the Hasted Vigor, and at the same time you would provide yourself with a lot of sustain in terms of the conditionings. As I've mentioned, your goal is to soak as much as possible damage without the need of backing off, and with all those defensive perks and the medium loadout, this is definitely going to be the case. I hope that so far you are liking our menu, as it was made only for selected people. Now if you allow me, let me present you the desserts. For the Soufflé Amulet, I think that the best 3 perks would be Stamina Recovery, Type of Protection of your choice, and for last third perk you want to have Refreshing Recovery, Health or Divine. The Fruit Salad Ring Elemental Band is quite nice with last perk Burning or Invigorated Punishment. In my opinion, both of those perks are not as strong as they could be, but there is literally nothing else that can benefit you more. Also, if you wonder why would anyone pick Elemental Band with a single type of element as damage, the answer is quite simple. While you have good empower level with the Jasper in your weapon, the ring will not only give you 4% additional empower, but also you would have critical chance. Remember that critical and empower are 2 perks from the same bucket, and usually you cannot have them together in a crafted variation. Last, the Tiramisu earring is a regular crafted one with Refreshing Toast, Healthy Toast and Nimble or Fortifying Toast as a finisher. Going for Endless Thirst might be also an option, but when I personally tested it, it really felt weak compared to the regular ones, so that's why I'm going with the crafted. Well guys, that was our course of dishes for today, and since I see that you enjoyed the food a lot, let me give you some digestives just before you leave. For Heart Rune, you have two choices depending on how you want to approach and how you want to play. If you want to be an aggressive flamethrower, you should definitely take Vines, and if you want to survive a little bit longer and not to get staggered, Stoneform is your best friend. The attributes for the build are pretty simple and easy, 200 constitution and everything that's left is going into intelligence. But if you feel too strong and you have an assistant chef with you, maybe going for 150 constitution can also be an option. That was all for today. I really appreciated your visit in our kitchen and I hope that this build will keep you smiling and having fun. Don't forget that you can also explore more of our menu if you follow the channel and join our Discord community. As always, thank you so much for watching and I will see you on the next one.